So today we are going to cover more on who is a Moolyan. So finally, to deliver Moolya value, two things are critical. One is our approach, our process, our ideal philosophy, or whatever it is. Something like Agile Manifesto and a sprint. Agile Manifesto boils down to sprint executable one. So what that is something that we have seen. So we have seen our Moolya's philosophy and its manifesto, which I have shown in picked up from Pradeep's book Buddha in Testing, and also to a certain extent that is converted to an executable model, which is this five steps that we have covered. We looked at the philosophy and a way to convert that into practical executable model, which consists of these five steps. Now the next thing is we keep emphasizing on people and skills when we focused on Moolya way of testing, context driven testing, all these. So now what we are going to do, what we are going to see today is, okay, fine, we have models, we have certain things in place, uh, but the people on who is going to execute without skills, uh, things cannot happen in Moolya's way of things. If it is, let's say, a routine school, or let's say if it's a quality school, maybe in the routine school they have a process. You go, you just blindly follow the test cases written. You're done with your job. You have, if there are 1,000 test cases, I execute 1,000. You are done with your job. Maybe analytical school, there are 20 techniques that need to apply. You apply, you are done with the job. That is not the case when it comes to when we talk about preventing things, adding value. So this needs, if there are two sides of the coin, one is the model and the process, the ideology that comes from the organization. The other one is you, the people. Okay, so for that we need to have certain skills. Okay, again, there are multiple skills that you can learn, hundreds and very different interpersonal skills also. There are many things, but you can't learn everything, and nobody can expect you to have everything, right? Again, context is the king. The context comes here. So what is the context, and what skills are needed for the context that you are working? So in Moolya's context, in general, testers get what they get, right? You can't demand this is what I need. Maybe in a quality school you can demand because you are the gatekeeper. You decide, and you can demand because you are controlling the quality. There you may be able to dictate things and get things. You can get what you want, right? uh, there are no requirements. Okay, I need requirement without which I cannot test. Maybe you can dictate in a routine school, you can do it in a quality school, but that is not the case here. In this, we believe that testers get what they get, that's all. So with these constraints, how are we going to, what skills are required? Okay, so with this in place, we must know how to cope up with what comes their way, what comes our way. Okay, so in some cases, if you're not having requirements, okay, fine. How are we going to go and dig requirements? Okay, so that is something that a Moolyan needs to know. Okay, of course, we need to know to explain trade-off to people. For example, you might want 20 days to test, but you may have only 2 days to test, right? So you don't get what you want. You get what you have. Okay, you need to tell, if you give me what I need, 20 days, this is what we can do, but in 2 days this is the best that you can do. Okay, tell what makes us more efficient and more effective. For example, you may need to negotiate. Okay, if you give only 2 days, okay, get me these things. For example, why not stop certain other activities, get us some supporting hand, or why not go to the developer and say that, hey, why can't you quickly help me with the script, that is something that can generate a data, test data quickly, so that I can make use of 2 days more efficiently and effectively. This is another thing that you need to do. uh, And then we need to know that it is a service that we are doing to the stakeholders who makes a broader management slash business decisions. So this is what testers see. Any project you are in, this is the more or less the context. Only thing, the variable here is what you get. Again, depends on different projects. So you need to explain the trade-off. You need to tell them what makes more efficient and what can make you more efficient and effective. And of course, if it is whatever may be the project, testing is a service that you are doing to the stakeholder, helping them to take a broader management decision. So if this is what you get, this is what we usually get. Okay. So with this in place, what are the skills that a Moolyan need to have? That is what we are going to look at. So there are 10 things that is listed. This is not the exhaustive list of 10, but probably the top 10 that can make you a good Moolyan. Okay. So let's quickly run through one by one. Some of the things you have already seen. One is courage. So what is courage? So going back to this, so you get what you get, right? So you should have the courage to tell that trade off. You need to tell, hey, if you are not giving me 10 days, if you are giving me only 2 days, this is what I can do. This is something that we can't do. So you need courage to tell. Generally, in places, usually people just say yes to everything. So courage is something that you have to put your foot down and say, to do the no to wrong things, and to say I don't know. Again, you need to have the courage to tell I don't know. People generally, maybe it is a culture thing as well. In our culture, we rarely say I don't know. So you need to have the courage to tell I don't know. For example, if you don't know if the product quality is good or bad, you need to tell I don't know. You shouldn't be saying that yeah, it is good. No, that is not the case. That is not the case. So you need to have the courage to say I don't know, and you need to have the courage to ask for help. For instance, if you are given only 2 days to test, if you need help, you need to have courage to ask for help. Again, there is a mind blocker in our culture, that asking for help and saying I don't know is something that is seen as not a good thing to do. So to break that blockage, you need to have the courage. So this is what the courage we talk about in Moolya. So that is one. And the second is persistence, right? It is not about just telling once, hey, this is something that is not working, this may not yield good result. No, you have to have that persistence, to put the right things into action. Okay. So that is something that you need to have. If you have been part of the last couple of talks that Pradeep did, this is the theme that he picked up and consistently told people that you need to have persistent to put things into action. Okay. So here is an example that I can give. It happened during our Tesco days. We were trying to bring a different model and test report in place, but nobody was listening. So what we did, or rather, Pradeep and I were there. What we both did is, like, along with the standard Excel report that we send every day, we started sending mind maps. Nobody said neither they said no to that, or they appreciated. Again, how I look at things when it comes to appreciation is, I think this is what we also mostly do. Correct me if I am wrong. So for instance, let's say you are getting a delivery from, let's say, Amazon. You're buying something from Amazon or Swiggy. We generally don't appreciate if things are as expected, right? You don't usually give a feedback, but when something goes wrong, we do. And only if there is something exceptionally great, we give a positive feedback, right? Same thing. If no response, generally means things are going well. Right? Don't expect that I have done something great, and then don't expect that customer will appreciate immediately. Right? Don't have that expectation, but you need to keep doing this things consistently. So what happened after that? One day I missed to attach the mind map. Right, I attached the Excel sheet report, but I forgot to attach the mind map. Then the head of the product team replied and asked, "Hey, where is the mind map? Mind map is missing." Then only we realized, okay, that is a kind of signal that, oh, okay, people are looking at things, but may not explicitly come and appreciate for certain things. Okay, so you need to keep doing things until somebody realizes its value. So if you think something is right, you have to constantly keep pushing for that. So persistence matters if you really want to prevent certain things, if you want to add value to our customers. Okay, and then next thing is proactiveness. Right. So this is one thing, how to look at proactiveness. Again, we all learned after a very long time and started highlighting this aspect is again, do what is needed, not what is being just asked. Okay, so let's say customer asks, okay, here is the 2 days, test these two features. It's not about, oh, okay, we will test only those two features, right? It's about figuring out what is needed than just doing what is being asked. Again, there is a great example that I can bring from the previous experience. Flipkart, when they were entering the first time when they are releasing their ebook, similar to Kindle ebook, not the hardware device, but the mobile app, that they were releasing. They asked us to do a production testing, just covering. They said that, okay, quickly test. Can we log in? Can we registered, log in, buy a book, open the book? Hardly takes 5 minutes to do. That is what the customer asked, but that is not something that we did. Rather, we had 1 hour of time. We had 6 or 7 Moolya testers sitting and available. We have almost 7 hours of time that we can quickly do in that window after they move to the production and hit release button to the customers. And there was a big press that was that was ready within 1 hour of once they release. After that, there is a press notification. That's when the customers get to know, okay, and then they can start by the ebooks. But we had 7 hours of time. We came up with a nice coverage model, what can be done in the 7 hours, and that is something that is appreciated for a very long time in during Flipkart. Maybe those are the things that is helping us to continue. We have this customer for now close to 10 years, right? So it is not about doing what is needed, but it is it is doing what is needed rather than just doing what is being asked. Okay, and then of course escalating. This is again a proactiveness. So escalate before the customer escalate. If you see something is not right, don't wait for the customer to come and say things are not good. It could be testing, or it could be an engagement level things. Not necessarily customers. Maybe this audience. If you see something is not right, don't wait for your reporting manager or me or somebody to come and tell, but start pushing things. Again, look back the previous, persistently or consistently you need to keep pushing things. It may not be a relevant example, but I still wanted to share this because tomorrow when you get into the next level of test managers or account, you start managing accounts, this will be helpful. So a couple of things that helped us to have a great success in Medidata. And when Medidata leadership moved to Colibra, why they again continued with us is because of we constantly escalate things before they escalate. Some of the examples is we realized a couple of people are not fit for Medidata or even in Colibra days. What we do is we assess that very early and tell customer, we thought that these people will be a good fit, but looks like as in the context also changes, right? Metadata came with a certain context, Colibra came with a certain context. When context change, we realize these people will not fit, so we take them out and we try to put them in the right projects, and we replace them with right people who can do better in this context. Right? These are the examples that it's about escalating before the customer escalates, right? In one of the incident, customer told me that, hey, good, that did you get she pointed out of a test manager from Medinet, and told me that, oh, okay, did this person gave you a feedback about this person, that's why you are replacing. I said, no, we have not got the feedback yet, but we went ahead and did, and customer really appreciated. So this is something that, if you want to know what is proactiveness, these are the key things. Okay, doing what is needed, not just doing what is asked, and escalate before customer escalates. This is another skill that we expect Moolyans to constantly demonstrate. And of course, mental modeling, we touched upon one of the second sessions. So any context, sit and create your mental model, create a model of your understanding of that context, or your understanding of the product, or your understanding of the system design, or your understanding of your how I am going to test. So creating mental models, that is very critical. And the center, I try to keep this around the center, because questioning is one of the key things that will lead you to be good at almost all the other 8 out of 10. So questioning and exploration, these two things will lead you to be good at remaining 8 of that. So why questioning? For example, I was giving this thing about, okay, if somebody asks you to explore Bangalore and come back with a map, if you have not asked the right questions, if you have not got into understanding the, see, the what is the first thing, understanding context. The one of the two ways, again, this is my view, one of the two ways that you can understand the context is, one is by asking questions, two is by being curious and exploring things. Okay, how asking questions can lead you to better results is, like, for instance, again, I just gave an example of what we did with the first release of Flipkart. Now here is an example of how questioning helped us to even get the project. First of all, we need to get the project so that we can demonstrate this, right? So we asked a very important question to Flipkart when the project came, right? So they were looking for a testing partner for their first digital product, which is ebook reader. Before that, they had only the Flipkart app where they were selling the physical products, right? Like the real books, the real TV, whatever it is. Then they moved to digital, where they started selling the MP3 songs and ebooks. These are all digital, right? Not a physical commodity. So that is where they started a separate division of Flipkart, called, of course, under Flipkart. So these two products are called Flipkart Digital. So the first time they are outsourcing, we, along with few other mid-sized IT services companies, we bid for this, and we shared a strategy of how we will approach our testing. So the key important question, couple of questions we asked is, like, it was me and Pradeep was asking this series of questions. Okay, it's something like, it started with, okay, how much time do we have to test? They said 3 months. Why 3 months? They said, we wanted to release this product, for Diwali. So we started somewhere in July and October, July, August, September. Yeah, somewhere in October was the release. On Diwali, before Diwali, they want to release this ebooks, and they said, yeah, we wanted to release this to Diwali. And Diwali. Okay. For most of us, maybe we'd have thought, oh, okay, we have understood the context, or Diwali sale, they wanted to release all those. But sometimes it's not that. You need to stop asking, a further few questions that led us to, discover a very interesting fact that determined us how we need to approach our testing. uh, you know it didn't stop. We asked, we are continue to asking the question, okay, why Diwali? Is it Diwali is the time when we make more sales? Because we are curious to understand why people would buy ebooks during Diwali, right? Maybe why not during the starting of the school, or starting of new academic era, starting of something else. maybe good time. The reason they told, because Amazon is about to come to India that time, so they want to hit the market before Amazon comes, right? So that, then we realize the importance of why at any cost it has to go to during that time, and we came up with the strategy of how we will approach testing within this 3 months, how we will align with their existing team and do the testing. That is what helped us to get Flipkart. Now we have a longest relationship that we have with Flipkart, that led us to have Mintra. Then the same person, Rahul Chari, who was then the VP of Flipkart Digital, who we worked very closely, went out and started PhonePe. PhonePe became our customer. PhonePe was acquired by Flipkart. Now we have the biggest ever team that Moolya has is with PhonePe. I think we have 35 members, I guess 35. We have, around 35, not the exact number, because we keep adding people every week. So that is what questioning can lead. So questioning uh, helps us to think. I think I also told there is no question is a stupid question. The only stupid question is that question that goes unasked. Okay, so questioning is very key. For you to even acquire the other traits of being a Moolyan, or being even a better skilled person, not only in Moolya, anywhere. So questioning is a very key thing, and exploration. That is something. Uh, I told these are the two things I would put these two at the center, like kind of that anchors you with all. That is the nucleus or the anchor of all the other triads that you need to learn. Again, why exploration is critical. So this is something that I saw many years back, around 2012 or 13. So I was trying to do this, and this is the screen that came. Okay, reading this, it took me maybe 2 or 3 minutes to understand. Imagine this is a mobile, so even if it's a website, I can drag this window, I'll take a screenshot and then read, decode, and then I can create a password that matches this condition. I'm sure it will take at least 2 minutes for anybody to read and create a password that meets this criteria. Maybe this, if you go by the routine school or a quality school, it's fine. If it meets this criteria, the user is able to create the password based on this criteria, and it's not allowing to create a password that does not meet this criteria. As per the requirement, everything is fine. It's good. It's pass, right? Your requirement is fine. It's working fine. All those. But this is where the kind of exploration, curiosity, all those things comes in place. Couple of things I was exploring, I was reading, and observation. Again, many traits I can tell here. Observation, especially observation and exploration. These two things. These are the good example for those two. Uh, because I was reading their terms and conditions. They are making the claim. Any user can create and start using their product within 1 minute. But for me, it took more than 2 minutes to cross the screen. So the claim failed. So unless otherwise you have that, you are very observe things, you would have missed it. If you are not exploring what are the claims that they are making, maybe you might be watching you are exploring, okay, what are the other places that I can know about the product. You start exploring. You find a marketing material. You need to have an observation skill. Without a good observation, you might not have observed that they are claiming that has to be should be able to log into their product and start using within a minute. That fails. So how are you going to connect all these, unless otherwise you have a nice model in front of you, like all these quality criteria, various learnings that you had, and convert that into a model and keep it in front of you. You often refer, you will not be able to prevent what is Moolya solution, preventing bugs and adding value. So how do I know there is something better exists? So unless otherwise I know there are better things, for me this may be a good thing. I don't have a problem. But what happened is I already know there are better things exist, because here is how a different product, the same thing. This is how another Dashlane, a product called Dashlane, solves same thing, right? You need to create a password. You have to select a password. Look what happens. I type one lowercase. There is a tick mark. Visually nice, appealing way to, intuitive way, user experience. Everything is good here. You got it right. So I hope you understood what is happening in the previous screen. Right. Every time you meet the criteria, this happens. Okay, fine, done. So which is, now tell me which is better, or which you would prefer.
The second one.
Obviously, the second one.
Yeah, obviously second one. Just imagine if you don't know this way of the problem can be solved this way as well. Maybe you may never be able to even first of all you need to understand that there are better ways. This is not the right thing, right? So that is so. So these are all an example for couple of other skills that you need to have in order to be a great Moolyan. In order to be a Moolyan, there is no great average Moolyan. There is only one Moolyan. So let me go back to that. This is a problem. Okay, so that is why exploration. This again, you need to keep exploring things. Okay, what is that? Is there how others do? What else I can learn? What else I could find? Right. So exploration, and then questioning. Is this the better way? Are there any better ways? Asking 5 why questions. So here is what I connected 3 things. Mental modeling, because you need to start connecting things, associate things. The way your brain operates, we have seen it associate things. So how can you help your brain to associate better or connect 2 things that you otherwise would have missed? Creating mind maps. You have your own models. See, today I can create a Kaflang model and give it to you, but something that something that you need to start thinking. What something you can add to that? How can you expand that model? Because it is that there is no one right model. The models are not perfect. They're always no model is good. There are only some models are useful. There is a famous saying. Probably you can go and again explore why that is being told. So mental modeling, questioning, exploration, observation. These are the things I covered with that one example. Why that is important. Here comes notes taking. This is what the good things. Notes taking is again a part of your mental modeling. So what you do in mental modeling, also you're making notes of things. Right? That is very critical. Why, especially, that is being pointed out again here is, your observations. You need to make a note of your observations. You need to note down what are the areas that you have explored, right? So how do you report at the end? So how do you know? These are the areas that you have covered. There are multiple things that happening. There are tons and tons of streets that you may need to cover. How do you know? Either you need to have a way of digitally, automatically tracking. For example, now these days you can track wherever you are, going using digital maps. So but still that's a way of taking notes. Maybe not physical, maybe not you doing it, but there is some way to do it, right? So your observations, you need to make a note of your observations, and you need to start connecting all these. So notes taking is a very key skills, especially when you are doing exploratory testing. Your notes will tell you how good or bad exploratory tester you are. Okay, note taking is another important thing. I think that is highlighted because I think Mohan or someone was Mohan. Please unmute and tell were you reading from your notes, or you were able to recollect everything from your memory?
I am written in the notes.
Okay, great. So if whatever maybe the format, maybe it's your paper and pen. That's good. That is what you do on the spot. Even I have in front of me the notes that I took for today's session. Of course, pen and paper is something that is more handy. But later you have to, so then maybe after some time, out of this, what can go into my wondering to rule them all? That is something that I keep saying, the one mind map. How I can bring that there. So from these notes, at the end of the day, these notes might get into your test report. For example, from the notes, you will send a digital, summary of in an email or in a coda. Okay, these are the things I have done. Your notes will be helpful. Some of the thing you might think, okay, this is a very long term need that I can, put it in my model. So from notes, it gets there. That is the kind of notes that you will refer later. Right? The notes taking starts from day to day, rough notes that you take in a pen and paper, and then convert that into a long term, referable. Some of the things will get into your big, the core mental model that you need to create for yourself. Okay, so that is why note taking is important. Anytime you can go back and refer, notes, because today's world there are too many information that keeps coming. Your brain cannot store everything. So there is a term that is getting more popular these days, second brain. Okay, so that is notes taking. The other core important thing that very rarely people talk about is get feedback about your work. Right, last week we spoke about how testing itself is testing is a feedback about the software product. And we spoke about why feedback is important. Some of you rightly said it helps the product to become better. So if you are giving feedback to make the software product better, what should you do to make your work better? You need to ask for feedback. Right, I have this habit of doing it. I was coming back from Bangalore, so I can give this an example. I Anytime I travel and park my car, I try to recollect if there is something that I could have avoided, because this is something that in India, unfortunately, 99 percentage of the accidents are avoidable. Though it's called accident, but these are all avoidable. Maybe if people followed rules, if they be very simple one thing, if they follow the rules, 99 percentage of the accident that happens in India are avoidable, can be avoided. So I do this because I feel it's very critical. You can't you can't stop others from driving rash and all those, but at least you can drive safe. So I keep doing this. That helps me. That's a feedback that I give it to myself. And of course, again, the two-wheeler, your dashboard is a good example for feedback. Why do you think what do? You take some action based on what is the speed that it goes, right? It's a feedback that is provided. Your car dashboard, or your the dashboard that is in your two-wheeler it's a feedback system, right? So that is why even if you look at Moolya's model, there is a dashboard. What is the dashboard does? It gives you feedback. So what you do based on that, you take actions so that it's a kind of a course correction, or you learn from that, and then you take some action so that you don't end up repeating the mistake, or you are back on track. For instance, the trajectory of the missiles or rockets that is being launched. How many of you watched? There are few movies where they will show that some missile or rocket that goes on trajectory, and it deviates from there. You see on the monitor, and then they take some actions. What do they do? It's a feedback that is coming to us from that system. And then if it is not on track, we take action, and then we do it better, right? So it's very important for you to get feedback about your work. Okay, so don't wait for somebody to come and tell, or this monthly meetings or quarterly review meetings to get feedback. Rather, ask for feedback. uh, in Moolya, it's one advantage that you have is being a service company. You have multiple people from whom you can get feedback, not only from your reporting manager, not from your colleagues, but we have our customers. In customers, we have multiple, various stakeholders. You can ask, feedback from developers. How is your technical knowledge? Or you can ask what are the areas that you may need to learn, or technology related things. You can ask them. You have product owners or business people from whom you can ask feedback about your understanding of the product knowledge or domain. You can talk to your engineering head or your testing manager from the customer side to ask feedback about your skills on testing, right? So it's important. That is the example that I also have. Okay, I forgot that. Yeah. So your driving dashboard is a great example or an analogy that I can give how feedback is very critical and how it can help you to go on the right path, helps you to take corrective action so that you are constantly improving yourself. Okay, so asking for feedback. And the other one is the last but not the least, be a problem solver, not just an executor. So if you are just an executor, let's say you are executing what is being told, again you can connect this back to the first or the second point. The third point: do what is needed, not just what is asked. So be a good problem solver, not just an executor. Again, if I go back to the example that I showed you about the user experience and the better way of doing things, if you were an executor, you would have just executed the test cases, or maybe read the requirement, created a test case, executed a test case, two test cases. Okay, give a wrong password. It is not accepting. Expected result. A wrong password is given. The system should throw error message. Actual result. The system is throwing error message. Test case number 2. Okay, given the right combination, the system should allow me to create a password. Expected result. The system should allow me, that is what I told. Actual result. The system is allowing me to log in. And then there will be another column which will say test data. You will have 3-4 test data. If this is what you are doing, you are not preventing anything. You are not adding value beyond what is being asked. Again, you can connect back to that. So do what is needed, not what is being asked. So what we need to do is we need to prevent things, add value to the customer. So you cannot add value to the customer, or you cannot prevent just being an executor. You cannot prevent things by just without asking a feedback about your work, without having good notes. That is possible only by good observation. You have more opportunities to observe. Wow, I got a good analogy here. So I think some of you will like. So Dhoni. So we all know he's one of the greatest finisher, right? So how often you watch his post-match presentation? More than his cricketing skills, I like his leadership skills, and more than that, I like his post-match, that post-match presentation. So he keep giving great leadership, thought-provoking things that you may not find in most places. So observation. So he constantly keeps saying why he takes to the last ball, because the more balls that he has an opportunity to play, so he is improving his, what is that, his probability, right? Let's say if you get out in 48th over or 19th over, the probability is less, but the more and more you play, the more and more balls that you get the opportunity, the more chances. It's pure statistics, probability, right? The more chances you have, the probability of winning is more. But the same thing here. So I was trying to connect each thing. So so how note taking is possible by when you do observations. The more and more observing opportunities you will get only if you keep exploring. You can explore when you start asking more and more questions that will lead you to identifying more opportunities to explore, right? So then you have to put everything together to have a mental model that you can have for your own reference, and being proactive, persistence, and having that courage. So even I would say only the courageous person will go and probably start applying all these, and you need to have the consistency to make this a success. So from personal experience, I can give how consistency can help. 6 months before, I don't I'm not good at properly typing this QWERTY keyboard. I type not in the proper way. Consistently every day, 10 minutes, I started practicing. Now I have hit an average speed of 75 words per minute, which actually, as per the website, it says I am beyond 94 percentage of it. Okay, so consistency is the key, and you should have that courage to attempt things. You need to figure out. Okay, so so okay, what next? So yeah, we were talking about the Moolya value, right? So again, if you go back to Pradeep's book, certain things I am just touching upon. It is your responsibility to walk the path, because everything cannot be covered in 4 hours. So the Moolya value in the book, again, you can see these 4 values: product value, tech value, test value, and then customer value. This is what finally, okay, what is that by value? The value, something that I have figured out. Is it a product value? Is it a tech value? Is a business value? That is something that you need to figure out. So these are finally, whatever value that you are adding will be falling under these 4 buckets. So you need to understand these are all more what and how part. Okay, so understand the 4 Moolya values. But what next? If you ask me, what next for you is, so understand those 4 values that I just highlighted. Then start assessing. Okay, here are the 10 triads of being a Moolyan. What do you think is your strength? What is that you think? Okay, I am good at. Oh, I am good at consistency, or I am good at exploring. Maybe I don't have the courage to say no. I am not comfortable, or I have not done asking feedback from others. So figure out what is your strength, what is that you need to improve, and second thing. Third thing, start applying what you have learned over the last 4 or 5 sessions. There are enough materials, references that I have given. Read those, and then apply this and create your own model of how you will deliver value to any project content. Okay, so of course, it's all driven by the context, but there are certain things that you can always keep a reference, irrespective of the context, is going to help. So that is something that, for example, how do you approach your testing is these 4 things that we have told. It's always the same. Okay, understand the context, do this. It does not change based on the context. If the context change, does not mean that you jump into third step without understanding context. It is not that you are getting into strategy. So that is the framework, or the scaffolding is the same. That's not going to change. So something based on all these, you create your own mind map of a mental model of this is how I will deliver Moolya value. Okay, here comes at the end of the session comes the definition for the value. So it is very, very hard to define or hard to measure or understand value. Okay, for instance, Apple, what is their value? For them, the value is providing great product. Again, great is subjective. So a product that is so nice, functions very well. Uh, the greatest product that the world can create. Steve Jobs. It comes from their it's a belief of Steve Jobs, right? Or maybe a social group in which they have an emotional investment. Okay, this is nothing to do with money. This is nothing to do with anything else. It's emotion. So maybe Steve Jobs had that emotional investment of a great product means it's a flawless, simple, intuitive things. And even the MacBook, when he came back, he I think right, he came back to Apple, and then he came up with this iMac that revolutionized, that helped Apple to survive from the biggest fall that it had. And that iMac is something that helped Apple to become what Apple is today. So one day he was looking at, and then there was some Even now you can see, if you open any of the plastic molds, you will see, inside is not so great. Outside may look so beautiful, but have you ever seen inside of a MacBook Pro? Just if possible, Google and see. It will look as beautiful as it looks outside. So for them, the value is not money. Okay, that is why they no, there are jokes, right? I have to I have to sell my kidney to buy iPhone. So for them, the value is not money. For them, the value is great product. Maybe the other side, if you look at some other companies, Walmart, great example, the other extreme. If you notice, they wanted to provide the cheapest possible product to the customers. Okay, for them, the customer base, for them, the value is how can I provide a product at the least possible cost. Okay, that is their value, right? So if you see, these are two extremes. So you know what? If you are testing an Apple product, you can't test like what you are doing with the Walmart. Right? Let's say if you are testing a Walmart website or something, it may be that will be completely different thing that Apple sees as a value and Walmart sees as a value. So each of the things has to drives back to even one small. Let's say we are testing Apple's internal some system, internal HRMS. Okay, the way the way Apple sees value, it will be different from, let's say, you are building the same HRMS system for Walmart, right? So you need to come up with a model that can see, for example, today you are working for Apple. Okay, you have your own model. Let's say Apple is our customer. You have a model, and then you pick up, and then it will help you to design how you are going to approach in this project context, how I am going to approach. Tomorrow you move to another project, the same mental model will help you to approach this product. But from this learning, model would have changed a bit. Okay, so with this definition of value, probably you may to start building your own model, and then that with me. That is what next thing for you. So as I said, this is not mandatory, but you can attempt to do. Okay, so this is what I do. So this is something that I track. So quarter 2 is done. So this quarter 3, this is what I was doing. On quarter 4, this is what I started. So this helps me. Something put on hold moves here. Even weekly tracker, I keep tracking how was that month. Okay, so June, July was not so great. August, and I started tracking weekly. August was the week. So did things go as per the plan? So that is what I do. So there are more things. If you see, this is actually the plan and progress. There is a strategy, the linear algebra, whatever I do. This is one mind map of what I am doing in the entire 2022. Okay, so this is something that is going to help me, consistently to how I do things, and how efficient I am. That's also feedback. So if you see, I go back and see how was the week. Okay, so September each week. So this is the feedback. So I try to make this as much green as possible. Okay, so this is what I do. So something you can attempt beyond work. You can make it even your the part that you are doing could be a part of the even a bigger model that you want to create yourself. Okay, so with that, I come to conclude this the 4-week session. So this is what it is. So that is what is next for you. So try to see if something that you can do. Okay, great. So that's pretty much the 4 sessions on why Moolya Way of Testing.